Hey, welcome to Astro Psyche. I hope you're doing well. I'm Shawna, your counseling astrologer. And I wanted to take a second here to just kind of chat with you about where I'm at. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately as I've been making more videos. And some of you have been with me on my journey for quite some time. And some of you are a little bit newer. So I just kind of wanted to pause to reflect on where I'm at and kind of like share that with you. So I've been thinking a lot about how I'm kind of in this like rebirth process with my business. And I've been thinking a lot about what I want and how I want to move forward as I'm very near, getting very close to becoming licensed as an associate marriage and family therapist. So I will graduate next year from my MA in counseling program. And very shortly after that, next year, I will become licensed as an associate marriage and family therapist, or an MFT. And so that means that I'll be seeing therapy clients under supervision. And I'm very, very excited about it because it'll be a chance for me to actually start my practice as a therapist, start my business, and then also be able to incorporate astrology when I'm doing therapy, and then continue to do readings, astrology readings as well. And so as I've been re-emerging, it feels like a re-emergence into making YouTube videos again, and thinking about getting back on social media to create a space for connection, for community. These are the things that I've been thinking about, and I've been thinking about how this has been such a long journey for me. So if you've been around for a little bit, you know, with me, you know that I went back to school in 2017 in my 30s, and I went back to school to get my undergraduate degree and then eventually get my master's degree because I wanted to change careers to become a therapist. And that was something that I had actually been interested in for a very long time, but I didn't want to make the commitment, spend the time and the money, etc., to go back to school for 6 years. And I finally was at this point where I felt compelled to do that. And so it'll have been about 6 years or so that I've been in school and working and all of that good stuff. And it's been a long time, and it's been kind of this very intense but very rewarding journey, and especially the last year or so, because in the last year I've been really getting into the meat of the counseling program. I did my practicum, which is where you see therapy clients under supervision while you're still in school. And it's a very intense process. It's an intense process to learn and to do counseling for people, and to be learning and absorbing information at the same time. So I feel that like I really went like very deeply into this work that I want to do. And now I've kind of had, because my practicum it's completed, I've completed my clinical hours that are required before graduation. So I'm kind of at this place where I feel like I'm emerging and it feels really nice. And I'm also in the process of writing my research paper, which is a part of my thesis research paper, which is a part of the completion of my MA in counseling degree. And so that I may share that with you at some point, but that is really focused on themes of the death and rebirth process and how that correlates to therapy, to depth psychotherapy. And so I've been thinking about this a lot, on how we metaphorically, psychologically go through these phases of where it can feel like there is a death or a falling away, or even like simply like a pulling in, where the vitality and the life force feels like it's internalized, it's not as expressive. And I think that I experienced that for the last couple of years, where I was like really just doing the work, doing my my counseling program. And I think now that that I'm transitioning, I'm moving toward the completion of this part of my journey in life. I'm feeling like that that rebirth butterfly kind of sense. And I think I'm like still kind of like breaking out of the cocoon a little bit, but I can see the light and the opening. And so with that, I'm really looking to my vision and what I want. And a part of that is this rebrand that I've done that is called astropsyche. So astro, like astrology, which astro is correlated to the stars and the sky and the celestial realm. And then psyche actually literally means soul in Greek, which is kind of interesting because when we think of psychology, the study of soul, there's not always a lot of soul involved in mainstream psychology. And so, but that component, the soulfulness, is really important to me. And the spiritual component to therapy, to astrology, to life is really, really important to me. And so so that's why astropsyche is the name that I've chosen for myself, not just now as an astrologer, but also to carry with me as I move forward toward becoming an associate, MFT, and an astrologer. And so yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And I wonder, I wonder how this idea of the death and rebirth process resonates with you. Have you had these periods where you feel like your energy is more pulled in, or where there's kind of like this transformation process happening, and then it's like, oh, like there's something new, like I'm ready to come out and play, kind of. And what also, like, what invokes these phases? I think that what's cool is we can see a part of this in astrology, and I think that external circumstances invoke these phases as well. I think that for me, it was kind of a combination. Like, I think that a part of deciding to go back to school to become a therapist, that phase, that moment in my life was like very much where I was being called, I was being compelled. It was like, it was something that I chose, but it was almost kind of like it chose, this is like very cliche, but I feel like it chose me. Like I could not say no, because things just happened, and it was kind of like I took one step at a time, and before I knew it, I was enrolled in school, and then I was completed and enrolling in my MA in counseling program. And so things just kind of happened. And I think that it works both ways. Like we can be very intentional and say, yes, this is what I want. And then sometimes we're kind of like drawn or compelled towards something. Like there's something that is greater than just your conscious will or identity that is moving you toward something. And I think that for a big part of me, that was all wrapped up in this metaphorical death and rebirth process, because I was at a point where when I went back to school, when I decided to move through this process, that I was at a point where a lot in my life that that wasn't really like it for me was falling away. And there can be a lot of like loss and grief in that process. But also I think that within that there are like the seeds of passion and the seeds of new growth as well, even though they might not be experienced in that way. And I think that, so like as I think about the future too, as I think about next year, there's also a loss of this part of my journey too. A loss, like an ending of my academic phase of life. And there's sadness in that too. There's sadness in the new beginning. So I hope that this is helpful or inspiring. Let me know how this resonates with you, and maybe where you land within this process. I would love to hear from you. I'm very curious. All right, I am sending you lots of love, and I'll see you later. Bye.